Hi, hello, and welcome to the Pet Healer Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Bitsy Vargas, and today we're going to talk about an issue that I've been seeing a lot lately in my practice, and is the overuse and I guess the taking advantage of the service dog status. So a lot of people come and want me to write a certificate that says that the dog is a service dog. I can't do that. I don't know if your dog is a service dog. As a matter of fact, according to the Florida Statute 413.08, I'm not allowed to ask you much other than, is this a service animal, and what task is this animal trained to do for you? Because service animals are not pets. They are supposed to be assisting humans in either mobility issues or seeing sight issues or any kind of other disability that is like a physical disability, and the dog is there to provide assistance. And so a lot of people think that emotional support is a disability. However, they are cracking down now in those service dogs that are, they just go to Amazon and buy a service dog harness, and then they want the same rights and the same considerations than a very trained service dog. And that's not fair. And we have seen situations where dogs that are very aggressive will attack other service dog animals. Dogs that are just not well socialized, they make a ruckus because they're not exposed to airplanes or moving walkways or stairs. And service dogs are trained to withstand a lot of stress. They are very adaptable to different situations, noises, and everything else, because they have extensive training. Some of these dogs that assist the blind, they are raised usually by a volunteer the first year of age. Then they undergo strong training for about a year. And then they are going to try to pass, and they assess if the dog is a good learner, if the dog has learned to kind of discern situations, and then they pass on to be a service dog, to train with whoever they are paired to serve. And that's extra training too. And so some dogs don't make the cut. A lot of them do not make the cut. So for our convenience, we don't want to pay an airline ticket for our pet, and we want to say that it's a service dog. That's a very bad situation, because you are just not being considerate. You're taking advantage of the system. And so I just wanted to talk about that, because I feel that we need to just create consciousness a little bit. Be conscious that that is not the same thing. When you look at a pet that has a service dog, you shouldn't pet it. You shouldn't baby talk to him. You shouldn't distract them from their job. And of course, as a professional, I can't really ask if your pet is a service animal other than what the two questions that they're allowed to ask. But I can tell temperament. And if your dog is just very aggressive or a fear biter or fear motivated, then they shouldn't be. You should not put that on them. It's a lot of stress for the people not knowing if your pet is going to react or not. So when it comes to service animals, we have a trainer here, Marco. He's done scent training and other specialized training. But there are dogs that innately, nobody taught them, and they can determine when a person's blood sugar is low. They can determine when the blood sugar is high. They can determine if the person is going to have a seizure. They can determine if the person is going to have a panic attack. That's quite different than emotional support. They are not traditional tasks, but they can definitely help tremendously assist a person. So our dog Pluto, we didn't realize that he innately can determine when my daughter is going to have a panic attack. And he immediately, there's something about him, he immediately goes, stands on two legs and hugs my daughter and calms her down. And it goes on the chest, always the same way. And we realize he just somehow knows when that's going to happen. And so, of course, he does get to her, to go to with her everywhere. And that's a really good thing. He was not trained for that. He was a rescue dog, yet he came with that. So some of those are warranted to be a pet therapy dog, and some of them are not. So the pet therapy dogs, they're just well socialized, and they have passed a canine citizen test, where they do tests with different people, just see how to react. And you can have a pet therapy dog that goes to hospitals and goes to elderly homes, and they can just visit them and encourage them and bring joy to their lives and something to talk about for a day. And they don't need much to know anything. They just need to be sweet and to be able to tolerate being passed around or being petted by strangers. And so I think that they still all have to be on a leash. They still are under other regulations that apply to all dogs. And they have to be under control of their owner at all time. And they shouldn't be a threat. They really, shouldn't be a threat. The pet dogs that are service animals have rights. And there are second-degree misdemeanor if you interfere with one of those service dogs or harm them or in any way threaten them. But the misrepresentation of a service dog is also a misdemeanor, my friend. It's a second-degree misdemeanor, and if they are, through the actions, having this service dog that is not a service dog, they are liable. And so I really wanted to make sure that if you're going to play that game and try to, take advantage of the system, that you're prepared. If your pet is, and don't come to your vet to get any paper saying that your dog is a trained animal, because we didn't do the training. We're not going to put our name on it, and we don't know anything. We're not involved in any of those classifications. You can register your dog as a service animal, and you can contact your state just to see what rules apply. But in the state of Florida, it's a misdemeanor if you misrepresent. So with that, I leave you, and I hope you're healthy and well until the next time we see you. Subscribe and share with a friend.